One thing we are going to talk about is Bitcoin security, because we talk a lot about like investing into Bitcoin, buying cryptocurrencies and all. But one thing that sometimes people don't think is to secure their Bitcoin. And the main reason is because we have probably some heard in the past that a lot of people lost their Bitcoins, right? So they purchase it, they kind of like leave it somewhere, and finally they cannot even have access to it, even if they would probably have made really great return out of their investment. So yeah, that's the goal of our little chat today. If you guys have any questions, you can raise your hand or you can write it in the chat as well. All right, so first of all, like one thing I just want to go over really briefly, it's the Bitcoin history, just to make sure that everyone understands a little bit like the concept of like saving, securing your Bitcoin. Here you can see I'm just showing you the difference between the Bitcoin and the fiat money. The very first reason I would say why the Bitcoin was created was actually to replace the fiat money, right? So if you didn't know about that, that's the case, right? So the goal was just to have something that is better than the fiat money and more reliable as well. So what they did is that they created a software that is decentralized. I'm not going to go too deep into decentralization, but just for you to understand what it is, it's a way for basically a group of people to send each other money without having to go through a third party. If I'm looking at what fiat money does, it goes directly all the time with a third party, which is in our case, the government and basically the central bank, right? So in brief, let's say if you want to send money to someone, you always need approval from the central bank if you want to send fiat money. Versus if you want to send Bitcoin, you can send it directly to someone else without having the need of a third party involved. So those are like the main two differences between the fiat money and the Bitcoin. And of course, there is some more. So just yeah, so one thing about the Bitcoin, everything is online. So it depends on the network. If you have a good network, bad network, it might affect your transaction versus fiat money that is working differently. One thing that is really, really important to understand though with decentralization, and it's the last part of this image, is the fact that once you make a transaction in a decentralized network, you have no support, right? So it's not like if we have to do a transaction, go to the bank, and the bank is going to manage it. So what does that mean? It's, for instance, if I have to send money to one of my friends, and I'm sending, let's say I want to send Bitcoin to one of my friend. That person, I'm sending the money directly to that person. So if I'm making a mistake, then that, sorry, I'm just at the same time, some people are coming in the meeting, so I'm just accepting them. So yeah, if I'm sending money to one of my friend and I'm making a mistake, then I'm losing my Bitcoin, right? There is no central point where I can go to say I did a bad transaction, can you refund me or something? Versus if you go with fiat money, you can go back to the bank and say, sorry, I missed my transaction. Can you send it to someone else or can I have a refund? So those are the two main things, the two differences between both. Any questions for that? Okay, great. So what happened now with Bitcoin is that since it has been created, some people started using it to transfer money to each other. And that was the reason, right? Just transfer value to each other. One thing that people realize is that Bitcoin is actually pretty slow compared to other ways to transfer money. And that's why we say that some cryptocurrencies might be better than Bitcoin because they can transfer money faster, right, from one person to another. And this is what people are looking for when they want to send money. They can send it everywhere in the world and really fast. But what people realize after that is that Bitcoin can actually be used as a store of value because it's really reliable. And that's basically what people started doing. So I would say individuals started doing that, but also now we see that countries and banks and big institutions are starting putting some money into Bitcoin just to store the value of it. So once you, oh, let me just go back just to make sure that everyone knows what do I mean by store of value is the fact that if let's say I have some money into Canadian dollar or US dollars and I expect a crash, right? I'm just thinking that in a month or two, there's going to have a crash and the Canadian dollars is going to go totally not to zero, but it's going to go down, right? It can, like it can happen at any time. Then I can say that I want to store the value of my money into something else. And I can put it into gold. I can put it into Bitcoin. I can also put it into anything else that is not linked to my money, right? So that's why Bitcoin is actually a good store of value and why people are using it. I think there was a question, maybe, or someone turn on the mic. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to keep going. If you guys have any questions, you can write it in the chat or you can also raise your hand. Perfect. So now one thing to understand about the Bitcoin is that it works with a private key and a public key. You don't have to understand everything behind that, but what we have to understand is that the private key is something that you own, and the public key is something that is part of the network that is doing the transactions for you. So if you want to start investing into Bitcoin, first thing you're going to have to do is to open a wallet. If you basically went on another platform, an app, or a website or somewhere, and you started investing into Bitcoin, they didn't give you a private key. That means that you don't own your Bitcoin, right? So you don't have a wallet, and they own the wallet for you, which is kind of a risk, but I'm going to go back to that a bit later. So the way to know if you have like a private key, if you're not sure, they're really going to ask you, right? So if you download an app, which is a wallet, they're going to tell you, all right, this is the key. The key is about 30 words. I would say in general, maybe 20 to 30 words. And those words, you have to remember them. No matter what, you need to remember them. If you don't remember them, you lose your Bitcoin, or you can lose your Bitcoin if you don't take the right precautions. So that's really, really super important. Now, once you create your wallet, you have two choices of wallet. You can go with a hot wallet or you can go with a cold wallet. Hot wallet is a wallet that is accessible online. So you can probably people are using it to make transactions fast, right? So if you want to buy other cryptocurrencies, you want to be connected to the internet, that's the purpose of a hot wallet. But there is also that thing that is called a cold wallet, which is the wallet that you use if you want to keep your Bitcoin and you want to keep it most of the time for a long period of time, right? So you just want to store it. And a cold wallet is going to be physical. So it might be something like a USB key, or it can be something like I'm going to talk a bit after, which is Trezor. But there is like devices that are used to be cold wallet. And what they do is that they just keep your Bitcoin. It's out of the network, so there is no hacking possible or anything like that. It's totally out of it. So that's kind of like, I would say it's great to use that, especially if you start putting a lot of money into Bitcoin. Once you start putting $5,000, $10,000, and even more, right? Then you actually want to keep it safe. Make sure that you don't rely on the maybe hacking or something, because like any service can be hacked online. So if that happens, you can lose your Bitcoin right there. Any questions? Okay, that's good. So that was the principle of hot wallet versus having a cold wallet. Now, the one I want to introduce you today is actually Trezor. And it's a wallet that I have. I have it right here. I don't know if you guys can see. But yeah, that's like a really pretty small device that is used to store your Bitcoin on it. So once you start having enough Bitcoin, if you want to just like put it for a long period of time, you don't really expect to use those Bitcoins for any transaction, then you can use something like that, which is a cold wallet. Few things to know once you purchase that device is to make sure that first of all you purchase it from Trezor only. You cannot buy it from another place. We have heard a lot of bad stories about it. So don't buy it from like Amazon or something like that. You just purchase it from the Trezor website. Sorry, I think there is a question or someone raised a hand maybe.
Yeah, Bryce, I had a question for you.
Yes.
Trezor makes several different versions of this.
Mhm.
Um, what's the differences between the cheaper version versus this one, which is about 200 bucks or whatever? Can you give us a
Uh,
reason why we choose one versus the other?
mhm. I wouldn't necessarily like I wouldn't necessarily know exactly what is the difference between both. I know that the new versions can hold more crypto. So if you're interested in having more crypto into your devices like Ethereum and other type of crypto, you can do it with the newest versions. Other than that, in terms of the device, the screen is different. So there is a touch screen that you can use. This one doesn't have a touch screen. It's kind of the old version. But in terms of like the functionality of it, it's really, really similar. It's just, I would say, more advanced. And I would always suggest to go with the newest one. Because if they did something about like security changes or something like that, they're always gonna do like it's always better to go with the best one, especially with the difference of price. If you're planning to put a lot of money into it, you rather just pay, I think that 50 or $50 difference. Hopefully that answered your question a little bit.
No, I appreciate it.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, that's good. So, yeah, what I was saying with Trezor, make sure that once you buy it, you really buy it from the Trezor website. So you cannot buy it anywhere else because we have heard a lot of bad stories about it. Most of the time, it's because people might, it's basically you have a private key on it, right? So you don't want anyone to deal with that or have access to that. Once you receive it, you should receive it in a really sealed box. So if the box is damaged, you return it to Trezor, they're going to give you back another one. I think that's the same thing for other devices as well. Every time if the box is damaged, just return it. Don't you shouldn't even try to yeah, just be really, really careful about that. Once you receive it, after they're going to send you the guide. And with that guide, you're going to be able to set up everything on it. So they're going to ask you to put a 4 digits number that is going to be used to open your Trezor. Once you have your Trezor, then you can transfer your money from a hot wallet or an exchange to your Trezor. Then the Bitcoin is going to be are going to be stored in your Trezor, and you can after that decide where do you want to put it. A lot of people might put it in a safe, or depending on how you feel, you can just you really like it's really up to you. You can put it anywhere, but at least you're the only one who have access to that. There is a question. Is Ledger a good wallet as well? So one thing I would say both of them are really good. Both of them are the top, Ledger and Trezor. There is also some other devices. I would strongly recommend to use one of both, Ledger or Trezor. People have good reviews about them. People like to use them. So I wouldn't necessarily go with another one, but you can still take a look. I would say it's always good to take a look, see a bit what is available. Sometimes it's also new, so they might have better technologies or something like that. But we know for sure that those ones are good. I really like having Trezor, and I know that also. I was talking to Mary earlier. She ordered Ledger, so yeah, I would think it's also a really good one to have. All right. Any other questions? Okay, great. So now, yeah, basically that was the principle behind having a cold wallet. As I said, once you do that, make sure that it's because you start having a lot of once you start having a lot of Bitcoin, a lot of money into Bitcoin, you rather keep it safe, right? Because you never know if you put it on an exchange, that exchange can go down and you lose everything, right? Which is, in terms of investment, probably not the best investment. Here, I kind of show you some different wallets and exchanges. So in the past, we talked a lot about different hot wallets. There is Exodus, Atomic Wallet. Personally, I'm using this one, Coinomi, which is on my phone. Cold Wallet, there is Trezor, there is Ledger as well that we just mentioned. And if you are looking for exchanges, then you can see there is Coinbase, Binance, and different other exchanges. One thing I would like to show you now, if you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to show you a tool that is really, really interesting. Okay, so now I'm showing you that tool that is called Glassnode. And it's a tool that is, the purpose of it is to look at cryptocurrencies. So here you can see you can just go on it. You go on glassnode.com and you can basically look at any cryptocurrency you're interested in. And what they do is that they show you if it's loading.
Please, could you spell that?
Yeah, I'm gonna write it in the chat. Glassnode.com. Oh, there is a question actually from Ramat. What are the fees associated with transferring to Trezor and back to exchange? Do you have any idea? So the fees are generally the same. Doesn't matter to which Bitcoin wallet you send money to, it's always the same thing. We know that with Bitcoin, the fees are really low, so that is really interesting. To give you an idea, I think last week I sent maybe about $1,000, and it was $3 fees to make the transfer. So you can expect the same thing to send it to Trezor, and if you have to send it back to an exchange again. So yeah, exactly. So that is something I would like to show you, which is Glassnode. So when we look at the Bitcoin, a lot of time people might make predictions based on different things that are happening. So in the news or something like that. But there is also one thing that is great because Bitcoin, everything is publicly available, right? So it's a network of addresses and you can see everything about those addresses. And that is what Glassnode is doing. They basically just display things in a good way related to the cryptocurrency, related to the technology, more than just the news that you can see everywhere on Yahoo or something like that. So one thing I actually really like to see and to take a look at when I'm going on that website is the exchange withdrawals. And everything, you have all of the exchange activity right here. And what is great about that is that, as I just mentioned, if you have a wallet, you take the money into your wallet, you put it into an exchange, then you might transfer, do some transactions, and eventually you're going to go back to your wallet. So, what they do is that they track everything for you in the sense that they track what is the amount of money going into the exchange, what is the amount of money going outside of the exchange. So if you are interested in investing into Bitcoin, what people like to see is if, let's say, you look in orange, you can see the number of transfers from the exchanges. So you can see that if people are putting money outside of the exchange, then they are storing that money. They're putting it often in a cold wallet, and they plan to keep to put that money for long term, right? So they're looking for long term investments. So a lot of time people like to see when it's increasing. So you can see that more and more people are just putting money outside of the exchanges. And that's a good indicator for the future as well, right? So if you're looking at any other cryptocurrencies, you can see if people are just storing that money for a long period of time, or if they are just trading it, which is a really, really good indicator. Otherwise, on that, you can see you have pretty much everything related to Bitcoin. So all the addresses. If you're interested, it's a bit more technical, but if you're interested into sending addresses, receiving addresses, which is all of the public keys, doing the transactions, you can check that. And you can see a lot of different things about it, right? So sometimes it might be really good if you're looking to invest in it, even if it's not for a long term, like just maybe for a few months or something, it can be a good predictor for it. Any questions about that? Okay, that's pretty good. So the other tool that we talked about in the past is CoinGecko. I just want to give a little brief on this one as well. I just shared it in the chat. Just to look at, if you're looking at cryptocurrencies and you want to see a bit how they are how they are doing, you can see right here that we have different wallets if you go to CoinGecko. So the ones we're talking about, there is Ledger, there is Trezor, there is Electrum. And so my camera just shut down. That's okay. So yeah, so from here, if you're interested, they always like give you the link. So if you're interested to buy any Trezor, you can just go on CoinGecko. And if that cryptocurrency is available on the cold wallet, you can basically just click on it. They're gonna redirect you to the place where you can buy it. I've heard about this one, Electrum. I've never really like did my research on it, but you can go on Ledger and you can see the Ledger shop if you want to purchase it. As I said, always look at the website, make sure that it's the right website, ledger.com or trezor.io, I think. Yeah, trezor.io. So for that, if I'm going back, you can see pretty much all the cryptocurrencies. You can go into Ethereum, see the same thing where you can purchase them if you're interested in having a wallet. And normally, if you go into the ones that are a bit less popular, you would see that you cannot really buy them everywhere, right? So you cannot, let's say, store Avalanche on the Trezor or on Ledger. So make sure that you take a look at that. That might be really helpful if you're interested in purchasing other than Bitcoin or Ethereum. All right, so now one thing I just want to show you before we end is this. So we just on our website, so this is our website, we just posted something about Trezor just to make sure that you guys, if you are interested in purchasing it, you can go check. We provide you the right link as well. Just make sure that if you click here, you're going to be redirected to the right link to the Trezor website. And from there, you can basically just purchase the device from there. One thing I want to say about it is that we also give you all the information. So make sure that everything I just went over with you, once you receive it, make sure that make sure that the box is sealed, that you have all the cable and guides, and then you can basically just start. I really recommend to go over the user manual, make sure that everything is fine for that. All right, so any questions? Let me just try to okay, yeah, there is a little problem with my camera. But yeah, anyways, that was pretty much it for tonight. And guys, if you have any questions or something, I know that some people wanted to purchase Trezor or Ledger. If you have any questions about it, you can always ask Ashley. Usually Ashley is doing the Wednesday meetings. She couldn't do it tonight, so that's why I'm doing it. But you can always ask any questions to her. If you guys are not into the Telegram group, so now we just moved to Telegram this week, we're in WhatsApp. You can just go onto our website, and I really encourage you to be part of it, be part of the discussion. If you're interested, and you can also like talk to Ashley directly if you have any questions about Trezor, Ledger, or any other cold wallet you would like to purchase. She would be the best to answer you guys. All right, so that's it for tonight. And oh, wait, sorry, there is a question from Mary. Yeah, Mary, you can turn on your microphone.
Sorry, I accidentally hit the wrong button. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay.
I appreciate your input. Thank you so much. Good night.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Have a good night too. All right, guys. So yeah, thank you very much. And you can join, just go on the website if you want to join the Telegram chat. All right, thank you guys. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Bryce.